Welcome, 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 all my poetry lovers, all my lovers of art. This is episode 17 of the Poet Circle. I'm Dawn like the morning sun. This is where we're going to dive into the mind of the poet. Very, very special episode, very full circle episode for me. I'm dealing with a community legend in Dallas. He's a Grammy voting member, NAACP voting member, has 28 experience plus in hosting and coordinating events in the city for youth and for adults. He's a poet, an author, an MC, social worker, men's mental health advocate, and so much more. We're going to dive into that all today. Please, if you're at home in your cubicle or in your car, give it up for Michael Guinn.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
If I had live audience, that would be the claps.
That's right, that's right.
How are you this morning?
I'm great, and I'm honored to be a part of this wonderful production you have here. So thank you so much for inviting me.
You're so welcome. And it's just, again, full circle, because did you know that you were the first person to give me my first paid gig?
What?
Ever. Like, the first person to take a chance on me, give me a full actual show. This was at the Doc Bookshop.
Yeah.
I was like trying to do things in the city, but you were like, hey, well, actually, I did bug you. I don't know if you remember, but I kept telling you, I'm going to come back. You're going to see me again. I was like, I want a show. And then you really gave me a show, and you like let me feature my own show. So I really, really appreciate it. It feels full circle right now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you were awesome then, and you're more awesome now.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. I think that was, actually it was November 2023. I'll never forget it because I put it on my accolade kind of journal. Because I'm trying to keep track of my growth and try to keep track of what I'm doing out here. But speaking of you though, because again, legend, you've done so many things for so many people in the city, and I want to let you know we love you. We appreciate you. So I ask everybody when they first come in here, when did you fall in love with poetry?
You know what? I remember the day exactly. It was December 21st, 1997. And I had just came in from a long day of working in the field as a child abuse investigator. I came in, sat down on my desk, slumped down, put my head down, and I started crying. And when I lifted my head, I had a pen in my hand. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I wrote was, what good is my master's degree if I can't be the master of me? And everything came pouring out from that moment on. And I've been writing ever since.
Oh my God. And what, so that brought you to it. It was an emotional moment that brought you to it. What made you say, okay, I want to be a poet?
Well, I discovered that whenever I wrote something and I shared it with my coworkers, mm-hmm. they were always pointing me in some direction. You go over here and go over there, and they do that over there. So, I ended up at a little spot called Reciprocity way back in the day. And that's where I met, Gino, Emotion Brown, and some of those other folks that were really, already been doing it, had some traction. And I fell in love with it just right then.
Really? And when you say Gino, do you mean, is it spelled Gno?
Yeah, that's so the one and only.
Cool, dude. Cool story about that, just real quick, because it's like I was at a show, the Artificial show, and I actually had Artificial here with Ross Cooper, Miss Kamisha. I'm in the VIP section, right? That means you're in the front. We got the wine bottles, and some guy sit right next to me. I had no idea. I mean, he was just so humble, so sweet. We're talking. He's like, I know you're somebody. But I was like, you feel like you're somebody, right? I didn't know who he was. Then when he gets on the open mic and they say, Gino. And they're like, this legend in the city. I'm like, I was sitting next to a legend this whole time. No one told me. I got his number. I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep asking you questions, just random questions. And he would allow me to do that. Like I could text him right now and just answer my questions. Yeah. Really cool guy. Yeah, so awesome. Again, just speaks to you that you got to be around those people. Yeah. And then who you are as well. Also, so that's what made you fall in love with poetry. So like I said, you were the first person that gave me a chance at this thing. So I would like to know, who gave you a chance? Who was the one that believed in you and saw something in you and said, hey, this guy has something?
Well, you know what? Combination of people. Okay. I didn't have the traditional family support because I, grew up with my grandmother, and she was a lot older. And so, when I discovered poetry or creative writing or spoken word, I was already, in my 30s. So I was a late bloomer. So the people that really, supported me were my coworkers. And then, I this one group I was a part of called the Zawadi Writers. Had A.J. Houston, Janine Livingston, who ended up being the National Poetry Slam champion, and a whole lot of incredible people in this group. So they were really the support system, or my second family, that kind of pushed me and supported me, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. And I do want to ask, are you a slam poet? Because you do host slams, because I've seen you and things like that. But are you a slam poet?
You know what? I don't know if slam poet is a thing. I think there are spoken word artists and poets who could participate in slams, but I wouldn't want to be stereotyped as a slam poet. I would very much like to be called a creative who does slam, who does poetry, who does spoken word, who does storytelling, who is an actor, who is a podcast host. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Who is a drummer.
Yes.
You know, so I'm a creative. So, but I do a lot of contests. I do a lot of poetry slams. I used to be a slam master for Fort Worth. So I in 15 years of that. So I understand. I understand the title, yes. but I like to think that we're so much more than just that.
I agree. And I love the way you said that. It was actually well put. But again, on slam, I would like to see, because I only did one. Actually, the one I did was the one you hosted. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, and I was third place. I lost to Miss Vicky by 0.02 points. I ain't gonna never forget it. Every time I see Miss Vicky, she forgets. She thinks she beat me 0.02. I'm gonna get it back.
But you haven't forgot.
I would never forget. But it was so cool that I even placed. So it was actually a good time. So, but what can you say to poets coming up and that want to get into slam? What can you tell them?
I would tell them the same poem, the same motivation, the same inspiration that you use to write the poem. Don't lose that. Take that on stage with you. Take that moment that, where you were when you created that, and bring that to the audience and let them connect with that moment, not just the poem, not just the performance, but the story behind it, the motivation behind it.
Yes.
Just be yourself, and never go into a poetry slam with a strategy to win. Don't do that. Just be yourself. Trust me, it'll all turn out all right.
Yeah.
I've done poetry slams where, I've strategized, and I'm gonna do this poem here and do this poem here. Well, I never got to the second round to do the other poem. So I learned just to do the one that I felt based on the crowd's energy. And then, that was the right decision.
Using intuition kind of thing. I feel like that.
Read the room.
Oh my God. Right. Read the room, please. Yeah. So I want to get to something I call the voice of the poet.
Sure.
And when I talk about voice in writing, it's actually a thing. So it's like what they taught us in English class when you write your papers, your essays. It means the unique personality, the style, and the sound of the text. And it comes from word choice and the sentence structure and tone. So I'm saying all that to say, when you're writing in your poetry, I feel like, with voice, I feel like there are ingredients that influence our voice because of who and what we consume. So I'm sure you're an avid reader, and I would like to see if you remember any of the books you were reading coming up that shaped how you write and how you structure your writing.
You know what? Coming up, I don't remember reading books. I remember reading poems. I remember reading passages or a magazine or a journal that had poetry or creative writing or some type of storytelling. I remember everything from Langston to Frost to Hemingway. I was exposed to a lot. I was one of those supposed to be gifted kids in one of those classes, but I was just a class clown. Yes. I didn't get anything, but mainly I didn't have the wherewithal to understand the importance of reading a book and being focused on that. Okay. Mainly because I was in survival mode, most of the time when I was a kid. Like I said, I left home when I was 12, went to my grandmother's house, and the Bible mainly was the book that we read.
It's probably one of the best poetry books.
Yeah, there you go. So I'd say that more than anything else shaped, but it was only later in life when I got into poetry that I went back and I, read Langston and Maya and Rita Dove and all the other folks. That would have came later in life, but I didn't have any of that and I didn't have the family that would push me towards that. They would it was survival, it was eating, it was bills, it was hiding from the guy that was coming to turn out the lights. It was that kind of thing. And I think some of that filtered into my writing as well.
I can feel that. I could feel where you come from, and I could feel your experiences even in your tone, though. Like, it just comes out, and I know you've been through things, and I know you overcome things, and it comes out in how you speak.
Right.
So that's thank you for that. Also, so what is okay? So when I say the motif, a motif is a continued theme, right? In poetry or in one poem, right? So I feel like we're writing all these poems. We have like thousands of poems. All our poets, we have 1,000 poems, and we're all saying different things, but we're saying one thing at the end of the day, like a one underlying message, which I feel like is our theme. And what do you think that is for you? What do you want your audience to get from you when you write?
I want my audience to get that from struggle. You know, you learn, you're shaped by your struggle, by your trials and tribulations. I want them to understand, I want them to know, especially that, there's a struggle there, but there's also a triumph there, that you have to go through that to understand how valuable being triumphant in your writing. So, for me, I'm always going to paint a picture of, I went through some things, but here I am now. I come out of it. I'm still standing. So I want people to understand that that's, kind of tone and texture of my writing. And and I always say that you have to write that pain.
Mm-hmm.
I have this thing where I say I had to get it out of my system because it was clogging up my wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to write through that pain to get to the happy times, get to the culture, understand what it means to be a transparent and vulnerable, and how important that is for you to present that to a public. So struggle and strife, but it lent itself to me having a better life as a writer.
It's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I didn't want to say the word pain yet. I wanted to be able to like see if that's where you were writing from, because I didn't want to put that on you. But I do feel the pain in your writing. But I'm the type of poet, the hopeless romantic, the one who loves the beautiful tragedy.
We know.
Come on, Mike.
We know it.
Mike.
We know you.
The love poet. I
and
really
it's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. You have some love poems too that make a crowd go crazy.
Yeah, I'm just having fun. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, you had to get through that other stuff first, and then you have this clear path where you can just create and write about the things that really you enjoy now. Wow. But I had to get that past out, and then to get to that future self.
And I also feel like that's just wisdom too. Like, it's just it's levels to this thing. Like, we going through different phases, and right now I'm about to turn 30, but it's certain things I'm gonna go through. But then I'm not even there at your stage yet. You know what I'm saying? You're at a different level of like freedom and different level of life that it's just good to watch. It's really good to watch.
Good to watch you too. Yeah, you epitomize rhythm, not just because you drum, because that's just. You can feel that in your writing and in your performance. So I'm letting you know that we listen and we learned from that as well. So thank you.
Oh my God. You guys don't understand. First of all, I look up to Mike, so him saying that is crazy. Yeah. No, I really, really appreciate that. And I do practice that. I have found a rhythm that I like and I'm comfortable with. And then I'll get to another one. But right now, this is my groove right now, right? And I really appreciate that compliment. It's one of the best ones I've ever gotten. Yeah. So the inception of your work, when I say inception, it means the commencement of your thoughts, how they gather, how they start, right? So I want to know, with the legendary Michael Guinn, how do you write a poem? Like, what do you need around you? What's the atmosphere like? What's the air like? What do you need to commence your thoughts?
Well, me, you know how I am. Sometimes I'll be, even in the audience, I'll ask the crowd to give me words, and and then I'll do that. So I'm able to write on the spot and create from the moment. I like to use the momentum.
Yes.
But I'm also someone who, for some reason, like all of us have, woken up at 3 a.m. with this thought, and you stay awake just enough to write it down, and then you go back to sleep. You come back to it later. I've been at a stoplight, and I write down something on a grocery receipt if I don't have anything else, and then we get these little pieces of things that we've written down, and we put them all in a little pile, and we sit down and we kind of sift through them, and we create from that moment.
Right.
So I'm kind of that kind of writer as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's helped me in so many ways to be able to kind of put back the pieces of my own life.
Oh man, that's how I felt. Because it was like you're putting the puzzle together, and like you said, putting the pieces together of your life, and you're paying attention. It's the awareness too. You're like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. Got to document that. Right. And I'm big on documentation. So just your awareness of yourself, I'm telling you, that's just why it's so good when you speak. It's so good. I appreciate that. Okay, so I kind of want to get to the point. I call this poem for poem, right? So I don't know, like you have many poems that I love.
Okay.
I think a lot of them come from your book Moist. We're gonna talk about that.
Security. Where is security? All right.
I'm sorry, but look, this is one of my favorite books.
Okay.
So I want to know if you could recite something for us, like, so they can say why I love you, see why everyone else loves you. If you got a poem on you.
Yeah. All right. Go now?
Oh, yeah. Whenever you're ready. Take your time.
Okay. All right. So this is the first attempt at a love poem. I wrote this about 2003.
Oh, my God.
read. So that's how long this poem was. But again, I had to write through all that other stuff to get to the point where I can express this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's called Every Day. If I could capture a rainbow, I'd wrap you in my favorite colors and paint you perfect. And if you truly knew you the way I do, you'd know why I'd get down on my hands and knees, reach inside my soul, gather moonbeams and starlight, arrange them in a beautiful bouquet, place them at your feet and say, I grew those for you. And every day, all I do is think of ways to do and say more than I did the day before, to tell you how much I miss you. And right now, all I want to do, all I ever want to do, is to taste you Tuesday, wake you Wednesday, quench your Thursdays till Friday, then sit Saturdays, sipping your Sundays till Monday. You see, I just want to love you daily. I want you to get sprung in the spring, sizzle in the summer, feast on me falling, calling as you and I anticipate the autumn and get buck wild below the waist in winter, because my love is all the season you need. I want you to go crazy as I slide off your January, pull down your February, March, right up in between your Aprils as May becomes June, and your July lays naked in the August of my September until you remember that October was when my naughty November eased inside your delicious December. Listen, all I'm trying to say is I want to love you every day.
Oh my God, he did the poem I really wanted him to do. Oh my God, if I had a button and go, man, or like I'll be like, my claps. I make the crowd go crazy, but you already do that.
All right, your time.
My turn. Yeah. I'm right. I want to do like poems that I've either just now written or that are just tucked away in that journal and I haven't heard. So this is new. It's called Godspeed.
All right.
This time, I wished. And I wished, 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 and I glitched, and I wished with 2 eyes squint, slammed tight, trying to fight the lava behind my eyes, burning my lids, hands melted together. I'm changing form on my knees, praying that you'll come back to see me, not just in my dreams, but having your warmness heating the cold right next to me just one more time, so maybe I can sleep better. But no matter how hard I tried, this time you didn't stop by. And it didn't matter if I cry or yell or stomp my feet or lay on the floor with my knees folding into me. No matter how far back goes my memory to reach back to grab you, I have to accept I may never see you again. But I can't. And now I can't see. I lost my eyesight in a world where you're not with me. That's why I stay asleep and I dream. That's the only time you're with me. And when I wake up, I can't see. I hope you don't turn out like me. I'm wishing you Godspeed.
I can't clap with the left hand.
All right, you gotta do
It is all amazing. Amazing. Beautiful. Good cadence. Good pace. Of course, the writing is always there, but you have a natural, that rhythmic pace. I mean, you just can't teach that. So I appreciate that. And I know everybody else that heard it will too.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I'm going to just cry in the car when you're not looking.
No.
So, I appreciate it. But you doing a love poet for the love poet was just, oh my God, it's just top news right now. Come on. Okay, so I do want to say, just again about because you talked about my rhythmic pace, but I like how you do you because you're like a real MC. Like you're like hip hop. You're almost like a sportscaster too. Like, so it's mixed with MC sportscaster. You know, like that. You know that the dude who calls out the boxing matches.
Right, yeah.
You're like that, and you did do a boxing.
I want to do that.
Really, I'm telling you, this is what I pick up. I'm like, yo. Where does that come from? What does that come from? You know what I mean?
Maybe perhaps watching so much sports. Maybe that's what it is. I'm a sports guy, man. So and then growing up and I attribute it to talking smack to somebody and then taking off running. That's what I did. Like, get you. And then I take off running because I ran. I was a runner back then, because I used to get beat up a lot. But anyway, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. You know what I'm saying?
That was my little brother. I had to fight for him a lot.
There you go, right there. I usually got beat up by girls for some reason. Anyway, I digress.
Look, exclusive. I definitely get, like, again, I'm a basketball head, so I love the sport. So when I'm hearing you, I'm like, yo, it makes it so exciting when you're hosting a show. When it's a Mike Guinn show, it and stuff. You also bring class. There's a certain level of class, so we're gonna have fun, but you're also elegant, poised, and it just sets the tone for the night. And you always come best dressed. You're him. So I really kind of look at that, and also I was wondering because I was like, one day I want to be able to host. And then I was like, what's going to be my hosting style? So I did study you. I studied Black Caesar and things like that. But then I also realized when I tried to do y'all, I was like, then it didn't work for me, right?
That's right.
Right. I had to learn that, though, because I would host. I had moments where I would host and I would try to do the MC Mike Guinn thing, right? Okay. And I could do it because I like MCing. Yes, ma'am. But then I was like, I don't know. I couldn't do to the crowd what you do to the crowd because you're doing you. Right. And then so I changed it up. So I kind of just went to the sensuality of my voice, and I went to, like you said, the pace, right? Mm-hmm. And I did the last show that I hosted. It was like a storytelling show, and I brought my piano guy. His name is Jeremiah. I was like, yo, play piano for me every time I talk. Every time I talk, just play piano because really the music helps my tone. Yes. It'll calm me down, and it'll also give me the sensual tone that I'm looking for. And it was every single person came up to me and talked to me that day that was at that show. So I was like, okay, that's the move.
That's right.
Again, I love what you guys do, but I had to learn, like, okay, what does Dawn do?
What does Dawn do?
Oh my gosh. Right. It was big. It was big. Okay. So we got some time on the clock. So I would like to know your connection to the Grammys, because let's just talk about that, and the NAACP. Can you just give me some background on that, because that is huge.
I'm quite honored to be a voting member. For the NAACP Image Awards, I was somewhere at work or something, and I got this email asking me to, would you consider being a voting member for the NAACP Image Awards?
How does a person get an email like that?
And here's the deal.
Yes.
They said, we watched you for 3 years, and you seem to be very passionate, consistent. There's hardly any drama. Your pages, seems to be drama-free. We think that you would be a great asset. Wow. But that whole thing about we watched you for 3 years.
Come on now.
So that always means that somebody's watching. Okay. But I realized how I was on their radar is that I had something at the Irving Art Center with a lady that was an ex-WNBA player who happens to be a voting member of the NAACP Image Awards, and she mentioned my name in a meeting at some national conference. Wow. And then that's how I got on their radar, and then they just watched and waited, and they found I didn't know that was even a thing to be a voting member. They reached out to me, and of course I accepted. And with the Grammys, my mentor at In the Spirit Entertainment, Miss Antoinette, she was a voting member. And she thought I'd make a good voting member. So you have to have somebody recommend you. Gotcha. And I had to have 2 recommendations. And so I got in on the first ballot, which was last year. Mm-hmm. So this is my 2nd year being a Grammy voting member. And then I had the opportunity to now, most people think you have to go to Hollywood or New York and like that. But we got talent here. We got people who are connected to Hollywood, who are connected to the Grammys here, like Rasa. He called me up one day and asked me, he said he had seen me 10 years ago at Will Ritchie's, Diverse Lounge. Uh-huh. And he remembered me from 10 years ago and said, would you mind doing an intro for the reimagining of Lift Every Voice and Sing? Oh, and so here I am on his project, but by talking to him, in your interview, that he's also someone who's connected to Bobby Sparks, Frank Mocha, Commissioner George, and all these wonderful people who have these Grammys, who have worked with Michael Jackson and all these other people. So he's very connected. So
yes,
sometimes the connection doesn't have to be a direct connection to the Grammys. It can be someone right here who is just working hard and grinding, and finally they've got in and they're opening the door for you. And we need to have more of that. So, man, it's just been an amazing journey so far. Who would have thought that little country boy from East Texas would now be a Grammy voting member? And I recommended my son, who is now also a Grammy voting. Oh, my God. So there you go. So trying to pay it forward, so there you go.
Oh, my gosh. And and that was one of the questions too I was going to ask about, because Baba Sa'ak, that's my drum teacher. Right. Again, the connection, right? Because he's so low key. He won't tell you these things. So even when I did the interview, I have people from my drum circle hit me. I was like, yo, I didn't even know this. I didn't know this X, Y, Z. So even what you're saying right now, I know he knows a lot of people, but I still don't know who he knows because he won't say it. He knows everybody. And I was like, I'm just the connection, just the proximity of that. You see how close I am to him. I could be I'm in his drum. He teaches me. So I have his number. I mean, I can call him, Right. Oh my God, it tweaks me out. But no, and again, you too, you were my first person that gave me a chance out here. So this is amazing. And how was it just being on the project like that though, real quick, the Lift Every Voice?
First of all, I can't even, they lifted my voice. They allowed me to have a voice on this wonderful project. It is, as you know, you've heard it, it's a brilliant reimagining. Just the prestige, the honor. Right. It was a masterclass in professionalism. Right. Everybody's on time. Everybody's on point. Everybody understands and respects each other's perspective, craft. It's just amazing. There was no dawdling, as Grandma used to say. Everybody came in. It was precision. It was accuracy. It was amazing just to be a part of that. The momentum of how they were so acclimated to their own personal musicianship, was something that just drove me and made me want to be better. It was a wonderful opportunity. If he calls me today, if I'm in New York or wherever, I'm going to drop it and say, yeah, what you want, because that's the kind of level that this project was at, and the kind of people that these people kind of inspire you to be at. So.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Again, I need buttons. I need buttons for this, for all the sound effects. But anyway, if you guys didn't know, just so I can clarify, the Lift Every Voice and Sing rendition that I had, the song promoted on episode 15. At the beginning, there's two versions. There's one version where there's just the music, but there's the extended version. And this is the Michael Guinn who was doing the spoken word at the beginning, just to make sure I clarify and let you guys know who this person is. But, dude, I'm just jaded or whatever. What do you call it? When you're just starstruck now because you're a star.
And Don, I'm one thing about Russell is
come on now.
He immediately called me and said, "Hey, Mike, I need you to go ahead and register for BMI." I know nothing about it.
What's BMI?
Well, it's some type of musical thing, some type of music platform that I think it assigns credits or make sure you get your royalties and stuff like that. Okay. So that's the point.
Okay.
I've never worked with anybody that said, "Hey, brother, I want you to get credit for what you did. Hey, brother, I want you to get royalties if there's payment for what you did." And I've worked in this industry for a long time, but it's the first time that, I hate to say it, an African-American man or African-American entity has said, "I want you to get credit." And that right there just almost brought me to tears, that he would say, "Hey, I want you to, this is professional. I want you to get this. I want you to have this done." So I really appreciate, all of that he brought to my, my knowledge now. Yes. That this is how you work. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how you give credit. So I really appreciate, on not just the craft and the music, but the professional side of things, the business side of things, that he is always making sure that everybody gets what they deserve. So I really appreciate him for that. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Baba. And just on that, I'm going to give you two more questions. So this one and then the last one. Okay. So it sparked from what you just said, because I had an issue, or I'm not going to say issue. It was just like it was a conversation about what you're just saying. It was because I'm working on a show, and, it was a situation where, because one person said, hey, look, and he's a big name. He was like, I'm sorry, dude, but I can't perform for free. Right. And some people have an issue with that. And then again, say what you can say. If you can't speak on it, and that's fine too. But what would you say about like a poet coming up? Because I know, because I'm in like my 4th year of doing this in the city, and I'm gonna just say for real, 80% of the time I'm not conversating. I'm doing this because I want to get better. I want to see what my groove is, and I'm practicing. But at the same time, once you got the thing, and now it's almost a service. Like, I'm providing you a service. I got bands coming in, so I got musicians. It's like,
and
it's not
the show and everything.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not just I'm not just showing up. I'm bringing people. I'm doing this thing to a different level. So, what do you think? What do you say to poets that's coming up and that's getting to a point where they want to get compensated for what they do?
Well, I'll say coming up, and when you say, let's just break it down. So,
let's break it down. Coming
up means a couple of months into it. But after 3 years or whatever, that's no longer coming up.
Okay.
You've got some traction. You know what you're doing. You've made connections. Your craft has gotten sharper.
Yeah.
Now you have people to come, and they are willing to be a part of what you're doing, and that adds to your value as an artist. So that's different than coming up. But for those coming up, just like I did, I mean, when I was coming up, I went to every open mic. I paid the fee. I paid my dues.
Right.
But after a certain time, you've done that. So now it's time for you to branch out and do your own thing. But when you do that, there's a certain level of professionalism that goes along with that. Like, does that person have a show, a regular show they're doing? Does this person have business cards, website, EPK? Do they have the things that whenever I go, like, I'm a member of several boards, and I remember sitting in some of these committees, like I'm on the host committee for New Friends, New Life, who are bringing in Tracy Ellis Ross on September 24th. So I get to meet her. But they want to know where's the link that shows who this person is that wants this kind of money. Where's the website? Can we see footage? Where's the bio? Do we have a brochure or something in front of us that we can pass around? So when artists are talking about I'm a professional, there's a certain description of professional that they're thinking about. If you have to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed when you're talking about promoting yourself as a professional to certain groups of people, certain organizations. But if it's just local stuff, and you may not need all that to do an open mic. You may not need all that to do a slam.
Right.
But when you talk about like I'm hosting 10 conferences, 4 award shows. I'm doing everything I want to do with hosting and all this other stuff. I understand that there's a difference between hosting open mic and performing an open mic as opposed to doing the other stuff. So when you say up and coming, that's you're no longer that. Okay. I'm just letting you know that right now. Okay. So you should have a fee scale. You should have an idea about what you should bring as an artist. And if you're going to bring people with you, that has to be added into that as well. Right. So you have a good idea of that. And some of the reason why I don't approach a lot of artists that are at that level is that if I can't pay them, if I can't find a way to pay them, then I'm not going to invite them, unless we have some type of other agreement or arrangement. I would never take advantage of relationships.
Right.
But you have to, it's all about respect and professionalism. So, up and coming, first 6 months, a year maybe, depending on what level of craft you are.
Yes.
But definitely, there's a certain point where you're no longer up and coming and you should have everything that you should get everything that you deserve.
I agree. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Last question. I ask all the writers this because we have, this is the service that we give them, right? We're giving them entertainment, poetry, storytelling, all this other stuff. But there's a reason that we write. And I want to know what that is about for you. Why do you write? And what are you looking to do as a writer individually, separate from what you're giving to the audience?
The reason why I write is because I have responsibility personally as a male or African American male writer, it's all about transparency and vulnerability. I believe that when I share my work, it opens the door for others to be able to say, you know what, I that whole, male bravado thing, I strip away at that each time that I, am presenting in front of a crowd. I realize that artists, a lot of times are born from moments where they hear someone else, share work at that level where they thought there would never be an opportunity for. You mean you can do that? You mean you can tell that? I mean, you can say that the way you said it. I too want to write. I too want to tell my story. So I write because I have a responsibility as to transparency and vulnerability as a male artist. And where I hope writing takes me is where I am now. On the Poet Circle. Bam!
Come on.
There it is right there. I mean, this is an incredible format you got here. I'm saying you just a gold mine.
Thank you so
and
much.
for anybody else, I mean, you've had Ross on the show.
I did.
I mean,
they don't understand.
I'm telling you, I mean, I've seen some of the shows. I was up at 4:00 this morning, watching some of the Poet Circle stuff, and going to YouTube and stuff, and just seeing how you navigated the spaces. You created a safe environment for them to be supported. You allowed artists to have the freedom. Yes. And that's the same thing you do in an open mic. So you're doing that. So it's a great space. So to be on more shows at this level and higher is what I hope that my writing takes me.
Yo, I can't stop smiling. My cheeks hurt. This is episode 17 of the Poet Circle. I just had the legendary Michael Guinn. You see why I love him. You see why he's so important to me. He's so important to the community. He's so important to artists. Yeah,
I'm kidding, y'all.
Anyway, you guys, find the poet within. Keep writing, keep creating, and always peace. Oh my God.